Hello dear viewers and welcome to a new episode of the Daily Debate. I'm your host for tonight, Mohammed Abdel. The Egyptian state has intensified its efforts to deepen and localize the pharmaceutical industry, part of an ambitious strategic plan that seeks to make Egypt a regional center in the industry, especially since this file is a national security file and a top priority in light of the health changes and the health challenges that resulted from the coronavirus pandemic, from the global warming, climate change, and everything that's happening around us nowadays. And this is a very successful industry here in Egypt, and really one with great opportunities. We'll be talking about the pharmaceutical industry tonight and the health file in general, the challenges and the ambitions. And we are delighted to have with us here in the studio the former Dean of the Faculty of Medicine at Mansoura University and the current President of Horus University, Dr. Saeid Abdel Hady. A very good evening to you, Dr. Abdel Hady. It's a great pleasure to have you with us.
Good evening and pleased to be with you tonight.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdel Hady. Allow us, please, as always here in the program, and allow us, dear viewers, as you must know by now, that we'll be watching a report first prepared by our team about the main topic for tonight, and then we'll come back and start our discussion.
Pleasure.
The new republic has become a destination for pharmaceutical manufacturing investments as a continuation of the successes of a strategy to localize that industry. The Egyptian state has intensified its efforts to deepen and localize the pharmaceutical industry as part of an ambitious strategic plan that seeks to make Egypt a regional center in this industry, especially since this file is a national security and a top priority in light of the health changes that resulted from the corona pandemic. Egypt has accelerated obtaining the latest global manufacturing technologies and provide the necessary ingredients for drug production, while exploiting opportunities, promising cooperation with distinguished international companies to achieve integration in the pharmaceutical industry and attract more investments. This contributes to reducing imports and meeting the needs of the local market depending on national companies, and supports the competitiveness of Egyptian medical products, as well as opening new export markets. Egypt launched the Export Support Initiative in February 2021 through the Drug Authority, with the aim of supporting and following up Egyptian exports of medical products and working to raise their global competitiveness. The volume of exports of medicines and medical supplies reached $691 million in 2021, compared to $537 million in 2016, an increase of 28.7%. And the volume of sales of the Egyptian drug market reached 149 billion Egyptian pound in 2021, compared to 62 billion Egyptian pound in 2015, an increase of 140.3%. Egypt's efforts to localize the pharmaceutical industry contributes to reducing the import bill. The percentage of local manufacturing of Egypt's needs of medicine is more than 75% in financial value and more than 90% of the number of units. With regard to the localization of the C virus drug industry, the localization rate reaches 100%, which contributed to the price of the course per person locally reaching $50, while the price of the course per person globally is $10,000. As for the modern antibiotic industry, its localization rate reached 79%, and savings of about $70 million were achieved because of reducing imports, as well as the localization of the single-dose eye drops industry by 95.5%, which achieved savings of $50 million annually as a result of reducing imports. The number of pharmaceutical factories nationwide is 170 factories in 2022, compared to 130 factories in 2015, an increase of 30.8%. In addition to Egypt's possession of 700 production lines in 2022 compared to 500 lines in 2015, an increase of 40%, noting that pharmaceutical production inputs were exempted from value-added tax in January 2022. The World Health Organization, WHO, confirmed that the corona pandemic showed great inequity in the distribution of vaccines, and therefore the Vaccine Technology Transfer Center was established in South Africa to improve access to vaccines for all, pointing to Egypt's progress to become one of the countries benefiting from the center. And the organization also congratulated Egypt on being chosen as one of the first 6 countries to receive vaccine production technology, and with Egypt to support its vital role in promoting health security and equity for all. Fitch Solutions affirmed that Egypt's growing commitment to health care will benefit from expanding universal health care coverage, adopting new strategic partnerships at the international level in the health sector.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and many thanks to Manal Al-Abieri and Rasha Abdel Hamid for this report. We're back here in the studio with Dr. Saeid Abdel Hady, the former Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Mansoura University, and the current President of Horus University. Dr. Abdel Hady, how do you see the opportunities in the pharmaceutical sector in Egypt today?
It's really a good opportunity because of the geographical placement of Egypt as a gate to Africa and among the Mediterranean area and the Arab region. So also the population and the expansion and taking health initiative as a priority. This all adds to the value of expanding the pharmaceutical industry in Egypt. Indeed, this is one of the most profit-making industries all over. It's perhaps #1 legal industry, just following the army and I mean the weapons industry and things like that. All that's
smuggling,
like
you mean?
the smuggling. And, but we speak about the legal thing that everybody needs on earth. Nobody will never live without medication and intervention and supplies. And also Egypt expanding, so the two comes together because we are expanding in the comprehensive health insurance. We are in phase 2, 5 new governorates are going to join. We already have 6. And per se Egypt is a big market, but also Africa and the Arab region could be, if we take it and as a priority, we could become a hub for pharmaceutical industry. Really, the initiative has been moving in a good way, and we have seen a pharmaceutical or called medicinal city nearby in Kalyubeya, and also the if you go into 6th of October or the new cities, you will find new factories for pharmaceutical companies coming every now and then. The other thing is that is never, in any single country, it is never 100% for production of drugs or pharmaceutical needs. So we need the international community as well. And so the local companies should work hand in hand with the international ones. And the target is to achieve self-independence. So we should produce our medicines and medical supplies, because supplies also are important because now they are very expensive. The other
self-sufficiency is in the 90s now.
We are
90%
yeah, between
plus.
Last time we're 85 to 90, and that's very good. Our ambition is to be 100%. Perhaps we'll just, if we just rely on very rare medications like that, anti-cancer drugs or things that need very sophisticated techniques, but we should be able to cover all other medical needs.
Dr. Abdel Hady, it's a question that always comes to mind, and before posing the question, I just have to mention here that there is always a local drug that is a successful and good substitute for international ones. I mean, this is an experience that all of us Egyptians are going through. Whenever we ask for a certain drug, if it's not a certain international drug with an international brand, if it's not available or the price is extremely high, then we ask for the local substitute. Usually the price is very good, the local, and the efficiency is also very good. Talk to us about that, the success story in this field.
You're absolutely correct, because...
And then there is a question after that.
There is the brand name for the drug, and by law this will remain for 20 years, and after 20 years it's become available for all other companies to produce the same active material. But still people insist on the brand. Let's take a drug like Augmentin, for example. It's very known to everybody.
So it's not an ad,
It's by GSK for now over 20 years. It's now available for everybody. In Egypt, of at least 10 other substitutes for the same.
Right.
If you come to the brand, it is still over 100, but there are substitutes for 50 pounds and less. And that's exactly for all other alternatives.
Right.
So what on earth we are keen to have the brand, because there are a lot of things going in this industry in addition to the quality, but I would say there is not a single factory for medicine will get a license without a quality control. By quality control, we mean they are going to take the active material, they're going to test what's its constituent, and it must fit exactly with the international standards. So if you are taking a medical product that's produced of Egypt, be sure that it's exactly the same as the one manufactured.
And by experience, I mean, the efficiency is the same, or almost the same. And of course the price is nowhere near.
At least the double.
The Egyptian one would be half.
Half, I mean.
Right.
That's true. That's what I mean.
The question now, since we are so successful in such a dimension of the industry, why is it that sometimes there are shortages?
Absolutely. We are just recovering from a huge shortage about a couple of months ago. This industry is very complicated because there is a raw material that usually is produced by certain countries. In particular now, China and India are very, very successful in producing the raw material. And also the supply chains, because if you rely on the raw material, the active material in the drug, because in a drug will be an active material in it, if it is an antibiotic, antipyretic, whatever, and the other additive that makes it in the formulation, in the shape, as a tablet, as an ampoule, or whatever. So whole mark is about the active material, and this raw material is not purely manufactured in Egypt. That's the next phase. We need to focus on that. The success story that's made in India and China, we don't need to rely on the West in everything, but India and China were very successful in manufacturing the raw material. The other thing is the supply chain. Sometimes that's the war in the region, and Bab el-Mandab closure, and the supply chains through the Suez Canal and things like that. So every delay in the supply chains, every shortage in the raw material will ultimately end in a shortage of the drug available on the shelf for everybody. So we have to reach the formula that allows us to have our sufficient raw material produced in Egypt, and but the local factories are very clever and have the standards to produce.
And they have the know-how, right?
They know. Perhaps it is an international market, and there are a lot of, complexities and interventions and some politics as well. Because I used to work in the UK, and they said we can we spend billions to produce one drug. But once we produce it, it costs us, say, 100 sterling pounds, and usually to sell it to everybody we choose to sell it to is exactly like, as we call the armamentarium or the army industry. So you give it to this one and forbid it for the other one, and you give it for expense and less expense for that one. So there are politics as well, in addition to the raw material and the local regulators as well, because the one thing that caused the shortage is the currency exchange as well. Because the raw material was $50. This $50 equal how many Egyptian pounds? All of a sudden this is doubled or tripled. So the companies are going to lose money if they carry on the same. So there are so many, what's called it, confounding factors. It is not a single factor. But I think Egypt is clever enough to know exactly, know how to turn around the shortage in which field: supply chain, raw material, complexity.
One other reason that might come to mind, and this is my question, is the balance between the self-sufficiency and the exports. We do have, of course, a very ambitious exporting plan, and our products are wanted.
They are good.
They are basically because they are good and they are competitive price-wise. So you have the quality, you have the price advantage, you have the markets. So it's very attractive. Yes, we want to export. We want foreign currency. But we don't want any shortage here, not even 5%. So how to make the balance?
That's the balance, as we say. We need to, what's called a calculated risk, because you must be sure that your citizen has got sufficiency of the medicines, and the additional one could be exported. I had a meeting with one of the very successful companies, and he says, I am selling to over 70 countries. So Egypt is really invading in this field, and the drug, as I said, because of its quality, because of its price, its competitiveness, and the good quality, any drug will fail unless there is scientific or real effect. And if it is a cost-effective, effect means it's going to cure the disease. If it's cost-effective, it will cost me less than any other body, then everybody will come to you. So it's an open market. It is, as I said at the beginning, is a vast majority. Africa, over 52 countries, are all welcoming the Egyptian drug.
Perfect. Now, Egypt recently, of course, participated in the 29th United Nations Climate Conference held in Azerbaijan, COP29. Egypt had hosted COP27. A very successful one to note here. I want to ask about the effects of global warming and climate change on our health. And what are the discoveries that you scientists and doctors and physicians are discovering now? And because I'm sure that the effects, we don't know all of the bad effects yet, so tell us please about the effects that we already know, and how far do we still need to know?
Absolutely. God has created the balance between everything, what's called the ecosystem. So man, plant, water, all are intermingled together to produce life as it's simple and as clear as possible. Before the 19th century, before what's called the Industrial Revolution, the carbon emission was nearly nil, because all this come with the industries, with the what's called fossil energy, petrol, gas, and charcoal or coal. Combustion of this, burning of this to produce the power, will lead to carbon dioxide and other what's called warm gases that gonna go up, act as insulator, what's called the green gas effect. If you are going inside a car and close everything without the refrigerator, and then within 5-10 minutes you'll feel everything around you is burning. And that's what's happening. So the temperature from late 19th century till now has gone around 1.4 degrees centigrade. And the aim now is too late, too little, trying to rescue things, because as it goes warmer, temperature goes higher, the ice that's in the
melts.
With melt, and the water in the oceans and seas is going to be raised.
Right.
So what is the effect for that? All islands living, all shores, especially the Mediterranean because it's closed. So in our case, the Delta and Alexandria, but there are in Indonesia, in
The
jungle
floods,
of
the tsunamis.
absolutely. Even look what happened last month in America,
Right.
Florida, and
Yes.
on the East Coast. The huge things we never see before. All this because what's called the effect of climate change and the warming, global warming. Who is producing the emission? Who is producing the carbon dioxide and other gases? It is the
Developed
states,
countries, yeah. States in China mainly, yeah.
India. And then, so these are the countries that produce the carbon dioxide. Who is suffering? The poor countries.
The whole world.
And
The whole world
the whole
is suffering.
world
But,
is suffering, but the poorer are suffering much more. That's the effect of change in the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's a direct effect,
That's the direct
to
effect.
people losing lives, people losing fortunes,
Everything.
everything.
Yeah,
What about the effect on the body
And the
itself?
body, absolutely. It's expected 13 million human bodies are or so
Deaths?
are lost every year because of this climate change.
13 million.
Yeah, if you look at the effect on air, water, and soil, this is the effect of warming, in addition to the warming itself. Just warming, if you are left in a warm climate, your productivity is going to be reduced. Very clear in the northern hemisphere, they are rich countries because they can work and can accommodate the temperature there. In the sub-Saharan Africans, if you go outside for an hour or more, you could be die because
Of sunstroke or something.
absolutely, there is sunstroke. Before sunstroke, heat exhaustion. If you are working in a heat environment,
Dehydration.
absolutely, you will suffer lack of concentration, dehydration, and then you might sometimes lose consciousness, go on convulsions. The most severe form is the sunstroke, and that's fatal. So that's the direct effect. But the effect on all body systems, so the respiratory system, if you are inspiring polluted air, that's going to affect you. All the pulmonary complications or lung complications and diseases, especially asthma and then.
How would you compare this to smoking? I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very good...
Which is worse?
That's a very good analogy. Exactly as you are doing yourself by smoking, because you are putting smoke inside your lungs.
Inhaling it.
So the rich countries are doing exactly the same. They are producing the smoke, but everybody is inhaling that smoke. That's a very good analogy. And the heart itself, because the circulation depends on a certain temperature that maintains things. Because as you know, our body doesn't change its temperature. It's almost always between 37 2, 37, 3, 4. But if you go up, then you have to do whatever is needed from the body regulatory system, so sweating go, urine decrease, and so on. So putting too much effort in the heart can cause heart failure and heart disease, especially in the old age, in the pregnant women and the children. In addition to that, the other effects of change that's going to lead to certain types of insects, like mosquitoes, like malaria. Malaria and the dengue fever are very common in the equatorial region, in Africa and Southeast Asia. And these are all diseases that are killing millions and millions. As I said, there's around 13 million lives are lost because of climate change.
That's scary. I mean, it's a scary number. Are we going to develop drugs to cure ourselves from the bad effects of climate change? Are we already doing this? Is the world already doing this? Do you foresee this?
The only solution is to stop carbon dioxide and other gases emission, and that is going through the clean energy. The fossil energy, petrol, coal, and gas, these should be replaced by solar energy, by atomic energy, by water energy, as the Hady Dam and things like that. Egypt has done extremely well. It's a bit expensive for the time being, so we have invested in the solar energy. We have the Hady Dam, which is marvelous in producing electricity, and I hope it's going to carry on this job forever. But also we are now embarking on the nuclear atom plants in Daba. We are collaborating with the Russian government and in establishing 4 plants, and they have put the foundation for these.
Yeah,
and
we recently saw the official announcement of the activation of
hopefully
of
within
the
3 years we could have from one of them actors, and that's going to produce energy sufficient for hundreds of other plants that use gas or coal or something.
So Egypt is serious in dealing with this problem, and it does have a clear strategy.
Absolutely, and clear vision as well, and that was very evident during the COP27, which Egypt hosted 2 years ago. 28 were in Emirates,
yes,
and that one Azerbaijan. Egypt was represented by a very good delegate, and the main theme this year was to get a pledge from the rich countries to sponsor and help the poor to counter the effects of global warming. I don't think this is going to happen, and I'm sorry to say that from the new American administration, Trump and his group, they never care about that issue.
Yeah, they are not believers.
They don't believe in it. Even before he takes office, he has declared clearly, categorically, that he is going to pull out from this Paris Convention that controls the emission and the fund to help poor people to face the effects of global warming. So the future doesn't look very good, unfortunately.
Yeah, we hope miracles do happen. Yeah, they do happen sometimes. And Trump wants, I'm sure, wants history to remember him. I mean, this great successful story, I'm sure that in his mind, coming back, and this very successful man, I'm sure, is thinking about how history will talk about him in 50 years' time, in 100 years' time, so I'm sure that he's going to try to do things maybe that we don't expect, but they might be for the good of...
we are hoping. He has promised to stop wars in the Middle East, to stop wars, war in Russia and Ukraine. Hopefully, if he's done that, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and that will definitely be good for mankind, for sure. Dr. Abdel Hady, dear viewers, allow us to watch the second report about our main topic for tonight. It's about Egypt's efforts in the exporting dimension of its pharmaceutical industry, the very successful industry here in Egypt. Let's watch and come back and wrap up this episode with Dr. Saeid Abdel Hady. So please stay with us.
The healthcare sector in Egypt is large compared to its neighbors in the Middle East. Egypt offers a variety of opportunities, as the Egyptian government is keen on expanding the healthcare industry, especially relating to medical devices. Egypt has increased its public investment by 205% over the past year to enable the strengthening of the healthcare system during the pandemic. The Egyptian government also launched the Decent Life Presidential Initiative, which entitles all citizens to have medical insurance. These investments aim to provide the necessary funds to enter service hospitals and to accelerate the rates of implementation of health facilities under construction and development to quickly enter service and start to benefit citizens. The Egyptian government completed 23 new hospitals, as well as launched the initiative of the National Project for Self-Sufficiency in Plasma Derivatives. which aims to establish 20 plasma collection centers and a central strategic store. Egypt has taken the initiative of building a regional research and development center, which will cater to the Arab and the African region. The government also supports Egyptian families during fiscal year 2023-2024 by improving population characteristics, controlling population growth, and working to raise the efficiency of 125 integrated hospitals. Another mega project currently in the pipeline is the new medical city in the new administrative capital. The GOE has allocated the land to establish a medical city that would include high-end healthcare providers and to establish a medical and nursing school. The aim is to provide comprehensive and high-level services to Egyptians who normally seek treatment abroad and to attract patients from the GCC area. Technical medical equipment such as radiography and ultrasound apparatus, vital statistic monitors, dialysis machines, and laboratory microscopes are imported and distributed by a handful of companies who benefit from low import tariff. Best sales prospects in medical equipment and supplies include, but are not limited to, the following categories: diagnostic imaging equipment, oncology and radiology equipment, medical disposable supplies, surgical and medical equipment, ICU monitoring equipment, laboratory and scientific equipment, mobile clinics, digital equipment. The government prefers investing in preventative medicine, which offers opportunities in medical devices. According to the World Bank, less than 5% of Egypt's total investments are allocated toward health services. Considering the strong demand, the medical device sector is ripe for substantial growth in the short to the mid-term. In line with the country's efforts to upgrade its overall healthcare system, it is expected that there will be opportunities in the long term in the following services: medical devices and lab equipment, construction, management and rehabilitation of hospitals and rural healthcare facilities, emergency care, ambulatory services, training programs for physicians, nurses and lab technicians, establishment of biological and laboratory centers, development of quality standards for hospitals, laboratories and healthcare institutions, capacity building and consultancy services for regulatory and accreditation bodies, training programs including on FDA drug classification for government officials.
Welcome back. Thank you, Manel and Rasha, again for this report. Dr. Abdel Hady, I saw you nodding while listening to the report. You wanted to say any comments about the report?
Absolutely. I am quite happy because it's a very comprehensive report. I used to be the dean of the medical school. I can tell you the medication or the medicines represent 1/10 of the budget only. 9/10 is the supplies, as we speak about. If you put the catheters in the heart, the valves put in our heart, as well as the joints and things like that. So the medical supplies are much more expensive than the medication itself. That's number one. Number two, as we are expanding in the number of hospitals, including the service compound and the medical city that's going to be established in the new administrative capital and everywhere, we are embarking on 5 new governorates, and there will be at least 40 new hospitals. Each one of them will harbor around 2,000 or 3,000 beds. So we are speaking about more than 20,000 beds extra.
Is that the 5 governorates for the health insurance
the phase 2 are going to be Dumyat, Kafr al-Sheikh, Matruh, North Sinai, and Minya. So we already have 6, another 5 are coming, will be 12 will coming.
Do you know the first 6?
Yeah, I know.
I
of
just know
course.
Port Said.
No, Port Said, Ismailia, Suez, Luxor, Aswan, and South Sinai.
So you haven't seen Dakhaliya yet?
No, Dakhaliya is in
Okay.
phase 4, and Cairo is in phase 5.
Okay, but
and
I'm sure
Alexandria in phase 3.
Okay, but I'm sure you're happy. It's very good that you know it by heart. I'm sure you're happy that Damietta now is in phase 2.
Damietta and Kafr Sheikh were already very close to Port Said as well. So things are moving within Egypt, and that's really is advancement, and giving priority for health is very good. It's something that every citizen would be happy for. But moving from medications, as we speak in part 1, to supplies is very ambitious, really, because the supplies are much more expensive. You know, with the raising rate of the dollar, the supplies has moved from, I used to buy our castor for 10,000, now it's coming to 30,000 or so. So if we concentrate in the lab and the intensive care monitoring and the lab facilities and a lot of things coming from that one, that would be okay. If we are very clever, we could go further and manufacture very smart kind of things that are very expensive. So I think there is a good strategic planning for Egypt going hand in hand. Strategic planning is to expand the national insurance, comprehensive insurance, at one end, but to move alone with this limb is not sufficient. We have to increase the manufacturing and the production of medicines to cover, and also the medical supplies. And as I said, the supplies are much more expensive than the medication. So I think in our strategic planning, we put all the 3 pillars together, and I hope we can make a breakthrough in each one of them. Yeah.
Wonderful. And of course, when I said that you would be happy that Damietta is joining, because Damietta is where Horus University is,
I'm working
is located. Dr. Abdel Hady, how does Egypt aim to position itself as a health hub for pharmaceutical innovation in the upcoming period?
Yeah, indeed, we need, as Gamal Hamdan said, Egypt really is very strategic, you know, عبقرية المكان. You will never find a country that is so central in the world. We have many patients in the Gulf who are now
a genius location, yes.
Treatment in India and in Malaysia, although we could be much better. What's called the medical tourism.
Yes.
We could be, and we have everything. We have very excellent physicians and surgeons in particular. We have very optimistic plan to attract these people to come to Egypt. They love to come to Egypt. We speak the same language, okay? They know how good our, but we still have things that we need to work on. For example, getting a visa. We don't need to have visa, you know. We can use electronic visa, for example. Sick visa could be issued within 10 minutes or so, and we should be ready to receive this and make it more dynamic. As I saw this experience in India and in Malaysia, they have a plan for everyone who want to come in the same day, find a location in a hospital and find a bed in a nearby hotel. Okay, with the car and transporter, everything is very well planned. That's an industry. Like the tourism industry. Even the medical tourism is more profitable than actual tourism industry. So we must think, there is a committee in Egypt for medical tourism. We have done more breakthrough, but things as we think of health with pillars, we need to think of tourism also in pillars. It's not only in the service, but the person needs to come to you within a short time, find the service ready, find the personnel ready, no bureaucracy. So that's how people think about
That's a very ambitious plan.
Hopefully, yes.
Dr. Abdel Hady, are there plans within the industry to expand the pharmaceutical industry, to expand research and development? Are we doing this?
Yes,
are we matching international standards in R&D?
I would say we see many of these, like chief executive officer of the big companies in Egypt, and there are a huge number of these, and also the fund is huge. If say we speak about billions of pounds in this industry, there should be R&D in it, or research and development in each factory, in each company. Otherwise, it's going to disappear. So you have, the world is running, and we must be running in the same pace to carry on. Otherwise, the company is going to collapse. So they need to be up to date. They need to be competitive. They need to be smart enough, read the market. There are a lot of things, I think we are good, very good scientifically, not very good in marketing and speaking about ourselves and presenting our case. We have all the facilities to be a hub for medicine, for medical tourism, and for production of these, because also now we can see people coming for the hotels and this kind of thing. I have a meeting with one of the Anchor Hotel and things, and they say they are planning to increase their bed capacity by 30% in the next years. So people know Egypt is in a very strategic place. It has the capabilities, has everything, and we need to open and decrease our bureaucracy, take the steps faster than we used to do. So any investor who wishes to come should be able to do this within a very short time in the easiest way and the simplest way.
Right.
No.
The good news is, when I listen to you, I mean, I'm hearing some very good news. The good news is we're very strong when it comes to science. We're very strong when it comes to the basics.
Absolutely.
So when you say we just need more when it comes to marketing, this is good news, because if you have all the marketing tools, but you don't have the science, you don't have the ABC, you don't have the foundation, you're going to do nothing. So the good news is we're very strong when it comes to science.
That's absolutely true. We can compete at a high level in all of what respect medicine, regarding medication, regarding medical supplies, regarding hospital furniture, regarding hospital facilities, and regarding medical tourism.
And first and foremost, the doctors themselves.
The doctors are the
best in one of the best in the world.
This is what is very promising, because unless you have a human power, nothing is going to cap. You could have all money in the world without human capital is nil. But Egypt has as a priority human capital, but it needs to get into the market in the proper way and the balanced way. Also, I think there should be strategic planning for that one.
Dr. Abdel Hady, one final question. With the rise of the global health challenges,
absolutely,
what are the steps being taken, or the steps that should be taken to make sure that Egypt remains a leader in producing high-quality medicines?
Oh, yeah, that's a very complicated question indeed. Regarding, as you said, the manpower, the human factor, Egypt has that one. In all fields, in all directions, whether medicine, whether pharmaceutical, whether in supplies, or industry, as we can see, But to make this factor productive, you will need the other supplies. Okay? So for the industries, the medical industries or the medicinal industries, you will need to manufacture your raw material. There is a way, maybe expensive at the beginning, but we need to get it. Okay?
And we have the know-how.
We know the know-how, but we must get the material, of course.
Okay.
Once you get the material, then there is no harm. We have very high quality factories dispersed all over Egypt, especially in the new cities. The other thing is, apart from the manufacture and the supplies, is the regulations. Every time we meet with the pharmaceutical industry, they speak about bureaucracy,
and they need to overcome it. Yes.
Absolutely. We need to be very, very, very fast. People are moving. The world is changing very rapidly. Yet, I'm afraid to say, the government says something, but a very low status person sitting in a bureau like that one can stop all the effort is done at the high level. So we need to kill bureaucracy. We need to encourage investors. Every investor who should come here must be sure that he's going to make profit. Let's speak frankly, unless it is a win-win game, nobody's going to come.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And it can easily be a win-win game.
It should be.
Yes.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
Unless everybody thinks he's going to win at the end, nobody's going to play.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saeid Abdel Hady, the former Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Mansoura University, and the current President of Horace University. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Very informative as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching the Daily Debate. Please stay with Nile TV.